Hello, welcome to class. Obviously no class because I am not here today. This video is just going to quickly run you through a little bit of MRP mechanics. And to help you out with this, there's a few things that you can have. Go out to Canvas, go to in-class modules, in-class activities, and I'm publishing for you right now two different things. The first is just MRP mechanics. And second is MRP exercises. And this is going to be an Excel spreadsheet that we're going to use to show you how these different mechanics work. Go ahead and open up the mechanics and keep this as a reference for yourself. It's going to be a quick little PowerPoint slide. If we can get that to download. Looks a little something like this. It's just got the basic rules of how an MRP formulas and math and different things work. So it looks quite complicated. You're looking at it now, you're probably freaking out. Don't freak out. Just keep this as a reference. You'll find it's nice, easy steps. Instead, I'm going to slide that over to the side, and we're going to come back in to open up that spreadsheet, the MRP exercise spreadsheet. Go ahead and open this up. Now, maybe you want to watch the video first. Maybe you want to slow the video down and have this spreadsheet going along at the same time. But I would recommend getting the spreadsheet open and using this to help out. A few basics when we were talking MRP. MRP stands for Materials Requirement Planning. Within an MRP, we're going to have different items that we are trying to buy all the material for, so that we have everything in-house that we need to build our product. If we are building toy cars and we're doing the toy car final assembly, somewhere either in our factory or at a subcontract supplier, there's going to be other parts being built. For example, this build material, or as the industry sums it up, sometimes we call it a BOM, is for our toy car final assembly. That's the parent item, that's the top level item, is the toy car final assembly. The first child items or children items, if we were to blow this bomb down, if we were to explode it down a level, we would find that a car is made up of body and wheel assembly. In fact, 2 wheel assemblies and 1 body for every final car. If we were to blow this down even further, we'd find that each wheel assembly requires 1 axle and 2 wheels. This is 1 wheel assembly. It's going to have 1 axle, 2 wheels. Keep that basics in mind. It might seem pretty simple to you looking at this build material. Obviously, it makes sense that every car is going to have 4 wheels in it. But the way we could find that out technically is saying, okay, I've got my wheel. There's 2 wheels per every next level assembly. So 2 times 2 times 1 tells me that there's 4 tires in every single car. Easy with a car. But what if this was a computer and we were talking resistors or capacitors way down here in level 5? We would do a 5 times 4 times 2 times 9 times whatever the different assembly or requirements were until we found out the total number. Let's not get caught up in that too much. Instead, let's go to the next tab over, Toy Car MRP Worksheets. Now, a few rules that our MRP mechanics will tell us. First one, at the top level, at the parent level item, never are we going to change, whoa, hold on one second, enable editing, there we go. Never are we going to change the given stuff. So these are given to us, these gross requirements here. I'm going to highlight those in blue just to know I'm not changing those. My gross requirements are given to me, my scheduled receipts are given to me. Scheduled receipts, in fact, even for all of the child parts, are never going to be touched. So I'm going to highlight all of those all the way down just for fun. Make those all blue so that I know that I don't change that. If there's a scheduled receipt there, leave that there. That's a rule more so for your homework and your problem exams. Leave those in. Instead, I'm going to be doing math, figuring out little formulas to figure out what goes in here. And I'm just setting this up as a tool, then will run automatically. As we do this, let's add a few notes over here to help us remember what we're doing, and then we'll do the math over here, just like we like to do in class. First thing I like to do, I'll just say first step. Whoa. I'm actually starting out with my net requirements. for some weird reason. That's how I like to do it. We're going to use a certain formula here. And I just want you to use it. If we were in class, we would talk about why, we'd play a guessing game, all those things. But we want the absolute value of something, or actually the positive value or 0, whichever one is higher. So we're going to use a formula called max. With that max formula, we're going to take the gross requirements up top minus the scheduled receipts minus our previous on hand. And then you're going to do a little comma that says or 0, whichever one is higher. That's what the max formula is going to do for us. Let's go do that math. Come over here, we hit equal, take max, parenthesis, we're going to take our gross requirements minus our scheduled receipts minus our projected on-hand inventory, comma, then our 0. In this case, it ends up being 0. Drag that formula over, and sometimes there's going to be a number there, because in that case, we have a positive number. Let's do our second step to entering these MRP mechanics. Second step is going to be calculating our planned order receipts. And you'll notice we've got all kinds of terminology here that sounds just alike. Gross requirements, net requirements, scheduled receipts, planned order receipts, planned order receipts, planned order releases. The biggest challenge you're going to have this week is keeping all the terminology straight. And that's actually the biggest reason for the lesson this week. It's not to teach you this math, because this math will be done for you if you take a purchasing or material planning job. It'll be done in an MRP system at your company. But we are going to go through these mechanics now, in the homework, in the problem exam, in an in-class activity on Thursday, over and over and over again, so that you can get all the terminology straight and keep it straight. All right, once again, second step. Our formula here for calculating our planned order receipts is simply going to be another little Excel trick called ceiling. Do a ceiling, open up a parenthesis. We're going to take our net requirements that we just calculated, but we're going to round them up to whatever our lot size is. Got it? Now, a little hint here. Let's make sure we anchor in the column of the lot size. Not the entire thing, just the column, and I'll show you why. Because basically, we want to be able to copy down and not have to go correct that every single time. Let's do that math. Equals ceiling net requirements, which was right above, but I need to do it in increments of this lot size right here. And I'm going to anchor in just the column portion of that. Watch what happens when I drag this across and copy these numbers. 1,000, 1,000. 1,600, 1,750, because 1,600 is not evenly divisible by 250. So that rounds up to the 1,750. Same thing down here with my 24 versus 25. Third step, my friends. Stay with me. Third step is going to be calculate our planned order releases. All our planned order releases is our planned order receipts. But we have to release them so that they show up on this receipt day. And since there's a lead time involved, we need to somehow get these to back up to where the lead time would tell them to be. In Excel, there's a cool tool called offset. With the offset, we can take a cell like our planned order receipts, and we can offset that cell now. We can offset it up or down, and we can offset it left or right. We don't want to go up or down, so let's hit 0 for the up or down. And for the left or right, let's say we want to offset, by whatever our lead time is over here. So our note would actually say lead time. Once again, anchor in the column of the lead time so that we can copy this thing down if we so desire. Let's do the math. Equals offset. Pick the planned order receipt right above. Let's not offset based on height, so we put 0, but we do want to do on distance, and that's going to be lead time. Anchor in just the column. Let's do the math. Let's drag it over. See, 1,000, 1,000, because it's offsetting it by the 1 week lead time. What if my lead time changed to 3, went out to 2? Everything would move over a week, but don't change it. The only problem with this math is that down here, it's taking this actual note and putting it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. But remember, if ever you need to take it further, you'd have to keep dragging that formula over. You've done the math. Now, wait, no, hold on. There's a fourth step. This still needs to happen. Why did I do this last? Who knows? It's just the way I like to do it. It also requires some numbers that we just calculated in these other categories. My fourth step is going to be to take my previous on hand. I'm going to add to my previous on hand everything that is potentially coming in. So my scheduled receipts plus my planned order receipts. Where to go? Planned order receipts minus my gross requirements. Let's do that math. So I'm going to take my previous on hand plus my scheduled receipts plus my planned order receipts, so basically everything with a receipt in it, minus my gross requirements, the outgoing. No need to anchor anything in, drag that over. Some numbers change based on that. Now we are set. Now we have created an MRP, at least for the parent level item, the top level item. The same math is going to apply to everything else down here. So in fact, I could take these and I could start copying them down, but I want to be a little bit careful with that, so we're not going to do it quite yet. First thing we need to do actually is get our gross requirements for these child items. Our gross requirements down here are going to gross requirements. So actually on my lower level items like this, these would become my first step. All my gross requirements is going to be the parent planned order release times the quantity per. And by quantity per, I'm referring to this number right here, but I'm also, look back in the chart on the bill of material, my wheel assembly, my quantity per is 2. That means 2 wheel assemblies going into every car. Two wheel assemblies going into every car. So let's do that math. I'm just going to take my planned order receipt of the parent times my quantity per. I'll go ahead and anchor that in to the column, but sometimes I'm going to have to double check and actually change that because my parent items, it's not always this one feeding into here or this one into here. Sometimes it's this one feeding all the way back up to here or all the way back up to here or somewhere else. So we got to pay attention to that relationship. And that's the one thing we are going to have to change from time to time. So maybe we even want to put a note over here. Note, pay attention to the parent-child relationship. The rest of this can actually be done just by copying our previous math and dropping it in. But each time we do that, actually, no worries. We can do that over and over again. In fact, let's do it again here. Let's do it again here. The one I'm going to tell you to get into the habit of doing on a consistent basis is the requirements. We could copy and paste it down, but because of that note, the pay attention to parent-child relationship, let's go ahead and just do this individually each time. My axle goes into my wheel assembly. So in this case, it works. I'm taking my planned order releases, timesing it by the quantity per, anchor in that quantity per, drag it across. Let's do the next one down. My wheel, does my wheel go into my axle? No, it does not. My wheel goes into my wheel assembly. So let's make sure we take our wheel assembly planned order releases times quantity per, anchor in, drag over, and now everything else is done and is in there. What you've done now is you have put together the MRP mechanics. I'm going to go ahead and reduce this screen size down just a little so you can see all my notes. You can see these 3 different set of numbers. either pause it or take a screenshot or something here so you have all these same numbers. Here's the pause. Now that you're done pausing it, I'll give you the last one. Do a screenshot of that one as well. With these numbers, go out there and work the spreadsheet yourself. Put in the same math, put in the same notes, because these are the same notes that are going to allow you to ace the homework, ace the problem exam, and possibly if any of these questions come up on the final exam, which I'm not sure if they will. If you want to practice before going into the homework, come out and do this again for these next two tabs. This one is making a table, and it's got a few different assemblies. The tabletop assembly goes down to top assembly as well as support assembly. So here we've got multiple layers. Pay attention. The yellow, feed back up to the green. The blue, feed back up to the green. Yellow does not feed in to blue. You got it? So when you're doing your quantity per, your center support is going to feed to support. Side support feeds to support. Support feeds to top. You get the idea. All right, very good. Hopefully that's enough to help you out. Hopefully that'll be good, because we will test you on this Thursday in class with a little bit of an in-class activity that will, of course, be worth extra credit for the teams that can ace it. So not just you, but also your teammates should know how to do this extremely well. I'm going to stop this recording, and hopefully everything worked. Big Daddy J out. Woo!